Special edition from the Star in Frisco. It is going into week 7 of the NFL season. And, of course, the Dallas Cowboys have a bit of a break. It's the bye week for the Cowboys as they enter at 4-2 following a 20-17 win on the road at SoFi Stadium in week 6 over the Los Angeles Chargers. With Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Glad you're with us for another edition of Special Edition. And, gentlemen, it was not pretty. It wasn't always perfect, but it got the job done. And the Cowboys were on the winning side of things in L.A. Barry, I'll start with you. How important was the Cowboys getting this win?
I think it was of the utmost importance. I mean, the two teams that are standing in your way, in my opinion, the 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles, they both lost. So with you getting a win in this game, they were able to kind of get that cushion back to a respectable rate right there. So it was a huge game for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, you need to get the win because you were about to go into a bye week, and you had just came off of a loss. So there is no way that you can lose 2 games in a row going into a bye. They were able to correct some of the wrongs that they had previously against the San Francisco 49ers. That's always good whenever you go watch the film, go ahead and teach it and make the improvements. That's what they were able to do. Hopefully they can keep it going.
You know, we heard a lot after that game about taking it personal. I would have took it personal. It seemed like these guys took it personal. They corrected a lot of things, and they got a win that they had to prove to themselves that they deserved.
And speaking of bouncing back, Dak Prescott certainly did that. It was the first win for Dak as a starter in the NFL following a game where he had 3 turnovers on his own accord. So he's 1-6 now in those certain types of games. But, Isaiah, I'll start with you. What did you see from Dak Prescott, and how did he impress you in the win over the Chargers?
I think he showed restraint. I think that was the biggest thing that I saw out of Dak Prescott. And when I say restraint, I mean that he did not make the decisions, the improper decisions that he made the previous week against the 49ers. He tried to force the ball against the 49ers. He threw the ball into improper coverages versus the 49ers. This week, yes, he took some sacks, but those sacks that he took were because he was showing a restraint to not try to force the ball. And sometimes you have to go backwards and go forwards. And I think that he had that wisdom this week and from the previous week to go ahead and make those smart decisions.
Yeah, to me, I think this was one of the best games Dak Prescott has played maybe in his career, not from a statistical standpoint, but from a standpoint of I'm going to put this team on my back and I'm going to go ahead and get this win. And that's exactly what he was able to do. He made plays with his arm, his legs as well. And to me, he was the true difference and the best quarterback on the field.
When he plays instinctively, man, when he comes out and he reads the defense and it's not there, and he takes off for a run or he gets rid of the ball or he takes a sack. When he plays free, he's a better quarterback. And if he can play like he played against the 49ers, just being Dak and playing instinctively, I think we'll have a great run going down the stretch.
Yeah, you got to continue to see good quarterback play. But I don't know if there's anything that Barry likes more than talking about good defense and slowing down the run. The Cowboys defense holds Austin Eckler to just 27 yards, less than 2 yards per carry. What impressed you the most on that side?
But no, Dan Quinn and his defense did a heck of a job in slowing down an explosive L.A. Chargers offense. They were able to get pressure on Herbert pretty much the entire afternoon, and Dan Quinn put his players in position to make plays, especially Marquise Bell. I mean, that guy was flying around pretty much the entire game. It was one of the biggest reasons why this team was able to make Austin Eckler kind of null and void in this game. So was it perfect? No, but they were able to make the plays to get the W that night.
DeMarcus Lawrence, Jonathan Hankins, Osa, Bell, great job. I mean, y'all paid attention to detail. Y'all kept a great back from making a big gain, and that was a perfect game for them. If they could just follow that blueprint the rest of the way down the road, things will go okay.
Well, you heard these guys just mention all the personnel that stepped up in a big way, but from the scheme standpoint of things, you were able to put pressure on Justin Herbert and make him uneasy. At no point in the game did he feel safe enough to set his feet and throw the ball, which is why he missed on a lot of big opportunities that were available to him, but that pressure burst pipes that night.
Yeah, it was the pressure constantly on Justin Herbert that made things tough on that Chargers offense. Kellen Moore at the offensive coordinator spot, he had some stuff dialed up early, but he didn't have an answer late for that Dallas defense. And when we come back, Cowboys had some answers in getting 88 open again. Ceedee Lamb said he wanted the ball. He got the ball in week 6. What went right for the Dallas Cowboys? When we come back with more Special Edition.
Special Edition, presented by AT&T, is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Reliant, official energy provider of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today. And by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by the NFL Fan of the Year, presented by Captain Morgan.
When things go good or bad, I'm still confident in myself. Like I said before, I like me versus anybody, man-to-man. So just coming out here and being able to provide for my team and contribute to a win is probably the best thing, for me. And I feel like I'm definitely an impactful player. So for us to get this going early and get me involved early was very important.
Ceedee Lamb, 117 yards in the win against the Chargers in Week 6. He asked for the ball, he got the ball, and he took full advantage, getting open, working open, and getting downfield for the Dallas Cowboys. As we welcome you back in to Special Edition from the Star in Frisco. He's Isaiah Stanback. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Isaiah, you know a thing or two about getting wide receivers open and scheming them up the right direction. You played quarterback, you played wide receiver. Now, I want you to tell me, how did the Cowboys get Ceedee Lamb open, and how could they continue that after the bye week?
Well, Coach McCarthy went in his bag, okay? I don't know if it was a backpack from Dora or whatever it was, but either way, Mike McCarthy was in his bag, and he did a great job of finding ways to free him up. Way number one, the way in which he did it the first time, okay, was by understanding what the defense was, and it didn't look like much, okay, from the average eye. But I want you guys to pay attention. Here is Ceedee Lamb right over the slot, okay? Now, what is his coverage, okay? Well, his coverage is going to be cover 3. What are the responsibilities of cover 3? Well, he has a third of the field. He has a third of the field. He has a third of the field. Okay, underneath, okay, you have to respect whatever comes out underneath. You have to be able to get outside, okay? So you got 4 guys underneath. So anything that comes out the backfield, if somebody comes this way, guess who has to take him, all right? Anybody that's in this flat defender now has to widen with him. But so let's see how this thing turns out, okay? Let's go ahead and snap the ball. So right off the back, doesn't look like much. Okay, let's pause it right now. Okay, here goes Ceedee Lamb. Where? Ceedee Lamb, again, is in the slot. Why is that important? Because we just talked about responsibilities of flat defenders. Flat defenders have to go out to anything that comes in their direction. So even though Tony Pollard doesn't look like he's doing much, what is he doing? He is pulling who out the coverage? He's pulling this flat defender out of the coverage. Now, what is Ceedee Lamb doing? Ceedee Lamb is running what we call a whip route. He's going out, and he's coming back underneath. Where? Right where this flat defender has vacated. He's going out with Tony Pollard. Ceedee Lamb's coming in right behind him. And now on that whip route, you find the seam in the cover 3 defense. Pause it right there. That is the bubble that you're looking for. There's a big vacant hole right here specifically made for Ceedee Lamb simply because of the fact Tony Pollard went that way. Coach McCarthy knew the flat defender would go that way. You have somebody running a corner route. You have somebody running out. That pulls this linebacker out. So you create space in the middle of the field for your number 1 receiver.
You could even see on that linebacker right there in the hole as he was looking at Tony Pollard. He wanted to go back the other direction, and he hesitated a little bit here. I mean, just look right here. He's looking at Tony Pollard, and that slight hesitation was enough for Ceedee Lamb to get behind him.
That's all you need, okay? As soon as he goes out to his responsibility, come out to the flat, now Ceedee Lamb's coming in right behind him. It's perfect play call, reverse to perfect coverage. You know exactly what to expect. You were able to get your number 1 receiver the ball.
And that wasn't the only time they were able to do something like that. They did it throughout the game.
Yeah, so you hear this often, okay? Pre-snap motion, pre-snap shifts cause a lot of issues. Well, a lot of people don't understand why, okay? So a lot of people are like, well, Ceedee Lamb needs to move around. Yeah, and that's true. They do need to move him around. But sometimes it doesn't have to be Ceedee Lamb. Sometimes if you understand what the responsibilities are, like Coach McCarthy does, you can move your running back out. And this is what he does right here, okay? You have your tight end, okay? You have a receiver, and you have your running back. So this is a 3-by-1 set if you ask anybody. Where is Ceedee Lamb at? Ceedee Lamb, again, is right here in the slot, okay? You got Michael Gallup up top. So this is a 2-by-3 set right now. But they're not worried about it because the running back's in the backfield. Let's go ahead and run this motion, and I want you guys to see what happens. Close attention. Pause for me real quick. Close attention to this linebacker right here, okay? Close attention to that linebacker. As soon as that motion comes out, okay, now all of a sudden he bumps over. Let's pause. He just moved. All right, matter of fact, let's run it back just real quick. My apologies. Okay, run it back real quick, right before the motion. All right, I want you guys to see exactly where this linebacker lined up at. A little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. All right, boom, perfect right there. Here's his linebacker. Look where he's at right now, okay? This is the hash mark. Boom, here's the hash mark. Okay, now let's go ahead and play it through. Okay, all of a sudden, Tony Pollard comes out the backfield. Once Tony Pollard comes out the backfield, look where he moves. He moves all the way over to his hash. What does that do? Well, all of a sudden, there was now a vacant hole that was not apparent before because that linebacker was there. Ceedee Lamb's able to run a basic West Coast route, run a slant route, and now it's open simply because this linebacker, his eyes are now to the 3-man side. Okay, you have to acknowledge the fact that, hey, there's a running back coming out the backfield. He's now going out to be an active receiver. There's 3 receivers, so that's now the strong side. My attention has to go now to that side and not to where Ceedee Lamb is. Vacant hole behind him. Ceedee Lamb runs a Texas coast slant route, gets the ball, makes a big play.
Some of these concepts starting to work into the favor of the Dallas Cowboys. It took a little time to get there, and it's still week 6 going into the bye week. Maybe Mike McCarthy can continue to utilize this as the season goes along. He's going to have to against the NFC East as well. Plenty of competition on the schedule for the back half of the season. We're going to go through the divisional rivals when we come back on Special Edition.
This segment was brought to you by the NFL Fan of the Year, presented by Captain Morgan. This segment is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas.
The only division in football with 3 teams in the playoffs a year ago, looking quite competitive again here in 2023. 3 teams all separated by just 2 games. The Philadelphia Eagles suffering their first loss of the season this past week. The Cowboys improved to 4-2, and then right on their heels, the Washington Commanders showing off that they can get the job done as well. As we welcome you back into Special Edition, Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Let's look at the NFC East. This division, one of the toughest in football right now. Barry, I'll start with you. The Eagles, still the team that really paces this division. What have they done well to this point?
Well, I'm worried. I'm worried about this matchup when you talk about the Philadelphia Eagles because they have a stout defense and they have an offense that's explosive and physical, led by Jalen Hurts. And if we look at it, those are kind of the Achilles heels for the Dallas Cowboys these past couple years. A defense that can rush for and get pressure, and then defensively going against an athletic quarterback. So this is going to be a tough matchup for the Cowboys going forward, and it's a matchup that you should keep your eyes on.
Kyle, you asked an important question. What do they do well? It's called 65.8 yards a rush per game. That's all they're giving up in the rush. Jordan Davis, Fletcher Cox, the other kid, Carter, they are shutting down the run. Ain't nothing happening in that realm.
Yeah, and that's what scares me most about the Philadelphia Eagles is their ability to shut down opposing teams' running game. And anything we know about the Dallas Cowboys is you need to get the running game going for them to be highly successful. So that concerns me. And then obviously their offensive scheme, the RPO, the zone read scheme, the receivers that they possess. They just added Julio Jones. So I mean, these guys have a lot of weapons, and they have a scheme that's made to beat up the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, they're still winning games, but as you see the stat there at the bottom, they're not dominating teams the same way they did a year ago. That could either be a good thing or a very bad thing because that means they just aren't waking up, and yet they're still 5-1. What about the Washington Commanders? 3-3 on the season so far. They still look very good up front. That front 7 as good as it goes with Chase Young and company. Isaiah, when you look at Washington, are they a legitimate challenger in the NFC East?
I think currently they're not a legitimate challenger, but I think by the second half of the season they probably will be. You think about the fact that they have they're still trying to build their personnel. They have Eric Bieniemy that's obviously trying to get their offense rolling. I think by the second half of the season, he'll have Howell on this offense rolling. They're still getting adapted to what he wants to do and initiate. And once they do, I think they'll be better than they are today.
Yeah, when you look at this Commanders team, they're pretty much hit or miss throughout this season. 1 week they'll look like world beaters offensively, putting up all types of points, and then the very next week they look like they can't even complete a pass out there. So to me, when you talk about the Commanders, I think they're truly one quarterback away from really, really competing in the NFC East this year, or next year.
Nate, I'll just take this very easy. What is going on in New York right now with the New York Football Giants?
The offensive line is garbage.
Wow. That's one way to put it. I mean, that's one way to get it done. Yeah, they're off to a 1-5 start, and that's one way to – anything to add there, gentlemen? Barry, Isaiah, anything to add?
The quarterback has regressed terribly, and the free agent acquisitions that they brought in there, they just haven't been able to make any hay out there. So overall, New York is in trouble.
I think Isaiah's speechless.
It's compost out there right now.
This is going to be bad if the Cowboys lose to the Giants later in the season. Somebody's going to come back and clip this. I just know it. When we come back, we're going to talk about the kicking situation for the Cowboys. Brandon Aubrey has been phenomenal. Can he remain perfect as the season goes on?
This segment was brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas.
Cowboys fans could certainly say it's been a roller coaster for the offense and the defensive units. Up and down they've gone through the first 6 weeks of the NFL regular season. However, you can't say that about Brandon Aubrey. The rookie kicker who was signed in training camp has been nothing but steady for John Fossil, Mike McCarthy, and this Dallas Cowboys team. And with more on a historic start, here's Nicole Hutchison.
They do trim a kicker and you're the only one now. Do you put more pressure on yourself to perform, or how do you look at that?
Absolutely not. It's the same thing. Just got to go out there and perform.
There's a unique aura about Brandon Aubrey in the way he speaks, the way he carries himself, and there's no difference when the pressure's on.
Has the distance, and it is good.
Nailing 59-yarders comes easy for the Plano native, but it wasn't always the goal.
My older brother actually played soccer when he was 5 or 6, and I was watching him obviously as a little brother, and as we all do, we want to emulate your older brother, so as soon as I could walk, pretty much wanted to play soccer.
Aubrey had a dream, so he put in the work. By the end of his senior year, he was the 43rd best player in the nation in the 2013 class. He went on to earn a scholarship to Notre Dame as a defender, where he finished with 15 goals. Crazy, right? Becoming one of the most decorated players on the roster. And by the time he left the Fighting Irish, that childhood dream finally came to fruition.
21st pick of the first round of the 2017 MLS Super Draft. Toronto FC select from the University of Notre Dame, defender Brandon Aubrey.
He was recognized for his natural ability, but that dream came and went. Aubrey was drafted in 2017 and released a year later. So it was time to make some life decisions.
I was looking around and had some offers, but also just gotten married, and my wife was going to be based in Dallas. The offers weren't anywhere near here, so I didn't want to be far away from her, so I figured that was the time to hang up the cleats. I started working in an office, and it wasn't exactly for me, and I figured it was time, since I was still young and my body was still working and healthy, that I should go pursue something athletically, and it just so happened that I went after football.
Aubrey repurposed his leg for a new game, and it immediately paid off. He became the USFL's top kicker for its best team. That led him right back home.
It was Coach Bones, Fossil, came out to a USFL game about week 4 or 5 of my second season, so this past year, and he came out to the game, was down on the field, and was watching us, and he kept a low profile. At the end of the game, approached me and just said they were interested.
The Dallas Cowboys staff wasted no time. They brought Aubrey to training camp this offseason, where he beat out Tristan Vizcaino to be the starting kicker.
Racing is good.
Just 2 away from tying the NFL record of 18 straight made field goals to start a career.
He can crush it, he's so consistent. I enjoy watching him work. I tell you, he's off to a great start. Like I said, I don't know if I've seen a start like this in my time.
A start that's paving the way for a future here in Dallas. Quite a story for the 5-year-old kicking a soccer ball, but Aubrey understands that paths can change, but a goal to be successful doesn't. And in Brandon Aubrey's words,
just know it's not going to happen overnight, so just make a goal for yourself, commit to it, and believe in yourself.
An unbelievable story for a Dallas-Fort Worth native, of course, kicking that career-long 55-yard field goal in Week 2 against the Jets, and he hasn't looked back since. He's made his last 12 kicks since that point. He's 16 of 16 and trying to keep that drive alive post-bye week for the Dallas Cowboys. That would be one key to a successful post-bye week season. When we come back, we discuss our keys for Mike McCarthy's bunch to continue rolling in the right direction on Special Edition.
Special Edition, presented by AT&T, was brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. And by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.
Welcome back into Special Edition. Gentlemen, in 3 words or less, how do the Cowboys have success after the bye week?
Execute.
Continue to take care of the football.
That's a lot of
Healthy
work.
O-line.
Healthy O-line. That's 3 words as well. That's going to do it for us on Special Edition. Enjoy the bye week, everybody. Isaiah Stenback, Barry Church, Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Enjoy it, everybody. We'll see you next time on Special.